Hey y'all, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. My name is Sammy and welcome back to another Crocktober video. So for this video I have 3 recipes. 2 are for dinner and 1 is a dessert. The dessert I haven't made in a crock pot before. Usually I make it in the oven, normally. But I wanted to go ahead and adapt it to a crock pot, so that's what I did. The only issue I had with it was that it didn't really set up as well as I would have hoped. So the recipe that I followed, which I'll have linked in the description box below, only called for 1 can of peaches. And I have a 7-quart crock pot. So I had to, well, let me take that back. My idea was to use 2 cans of peaches, and the recipe said to leave the juice in. So me not thinking correctly, and I was like, well, I'll try it this time and then I can always change it up. So that's the good thing about recipes. You can change it, however you want it or anything like that. So anyways, long story short, I used 2 cans of peaches and I left the juice in both of them, and I probably shouldn't have done that. So if you want to make this recipe, if you want to use 2 cans of peaches, drain 1 and leave the juice on 1. So you'll see that in the video later. But anyways, we just want to say thank you for coming back for another Crocktober. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, give me a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment below. If you've never commented before, I'd really like to talk to you and just get to know you a little bit more. And I just wanted to say I really appreciate you all, and thanks for coming back to support me. But anyways, without further ado, let's get on to cooking. Alright, so to start out this Crocktober, we are going to start with our 3-packet pot roast and some rolls. So this is everything you'll need. Of course, my seasonings, and then the 3 packets are ranch, zesty Italian, and brown gravy. You only need 1 of each unless you are, making a huge roast. And whatever veggies you want. We just chose onions, potatoes, and carrots. If I would have had mushrooms, I would have threw them in too, but I didn't, so that's what we had and that's what we're going to use. But to start out, you just want to go ahead and spray your crock pot. If you have liners and you prefer them, by all means go ahead and use those. But to start out, I sprayed it, and then I'm going to cut this whole onion up, and I'm going to put half in the bottom to kind of give my roast something to lay on. And then I put the roast in, and then you want to season it really well with whatever seasonings you choose, but I like Cavender's and Nature's seasoning, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. And then you will see me come back on and put the other half of the onion on, and after that I will be getting the baby red potatoes cut up. And I believe I just quartered these potatoes if they were, on the larger side. And if they were smaller, I just put them into halves. That way they would kind of, cook evenly. And I did wash them and then, cut them up and everything. Went ahead and put them on in my crock pot. And then in goes the carrots. Now you will see me adding some more seasonings to this here in a minute, but for this 3-packet pot roast, you only need 1 cup of water per roast. And then you just dump all 3 packets in your measuring cup or whatever you're mixing that in. And then you mix that well, and then you dump everything in there over top of the veggies, the roast, and everything. And I know it sounds like a weird combination, y'all, but this is so good. It has become our favorite. This even trumps like the Mississippi pot roast in my opinion, and I love that stuff. But this one is really, really good. So if you haven't tried it yet, please give this one a try. You won't regret it. But I did put this in before I went to work, and for 10 hours on low. And so, with the magic of editing, I am home from work and it is pretty much cooked down. And if y'all knew, I only had that 1 cup of water, but this just goes to show you how much, it makes it of its own. And it was so tender. The potatoes were not mushed. They had a perfect texture with them. So all I did was, when I served this up, I just put a little bit of chives on top and I served them with some Sister Schubert yeast rolls. Those are our favorite rolls. Have y'all ever tried them? Let me know in the comments below. But this was such a hearty meal this night, and there's nothing like coming home and having your supper done. That's why I like me some Crockpot meals. How about you all? Alright y'all, so I have made this before, and for some reason I'm not 100% why this didn't turn out, but I still wanted to share it with you all because, you know, life happens. I'm not perfect, we're all human, but it just didn't get as creamy as I liked. But anyways, you will need ravioli, or a tortellini is preferred because the ravioli broke down too much, but some spinach, cream cheese, diced tomatoes, garlic, and some chicken broth. I used 2 containers. This is a 7-quart crock pot, so just keep that in mind. But I did put that whole bag of frozen spinach in the bottom of the crock pot, and after that I went ahead and dumped in my ravioli. Now this is where, when I've made it before, I have used the cheese tortellini. They seem to hold up a lot better and they don't break down. So, but I mean, it still had the good flavor, but it just kind of, you know, the cheese fell out of the ravioli. Let me just put it that way, and you'll see it here in a minute, but it's okay. It was still good, it was still edible, and we are not going to waste no food over here. But anyways, once you get your spinach and your ravioli or tortellini in there, you dump the chicken broth in, and then I stirred in a little bit of garlic. And now this is where I am dumping in the Italian diced tomatoes. And then you'll stir that up again just to make sure everything is, you know, evenly distributed in your crock pot. And the last thing you need to do is to lay a block of cream cheese on there. And don't forget to season it if you want to, but I just didn't get that filmed. But in the crock pot it goes for 7 hours on low. And my crock pot automatically goes to warm. But anyways, I am home now, and I'm going to go ahead and just... Ooh, look at that steam. We're going to go ahead and cut up this piece of chicken that I had left over from the night before when I made the Tuscan chicken pasta. So I had this piece and I didn't want it to go to waste, so that's why I just went ahead and threw this in here. This would also be really good with like Italian sausage cooked up and threw in there too. But I just diced this up real quick, and I'm going to dump it in, and then we're going to go ahead and mix everything together. And this is where you'll kind of see it looks a little bit lumpy because the cheese has actually come out of the raviolis, but there was no other way for me to stir it. But anyways, y'all, without me rambling, it was really good. I just served it with some white cheddar cheese on top and some fresh green onions, and that was dinner for this night. If you give this a try, let me know. The inspiration for this come from Pinterest, so I'll link that one below. Alright, and last but not least is dessert, y'all. This was so good. But like I was telling you in the intro, I should have just dumped the juice out of one of the cans because it was a little bit, it didn't set up very well. But it still had that flavor, y'all, and it was to die for. It was so good. But anyways, you just need a yellow cake mix, some peaches, and 2 sticks of butter. I know it sounds like a lot, but that's what the recipe said. But anyways, I sprayed my crock pot, and I'm going to go ahead and dump both cans of peaches with the juice in it. But just keep in mind, if you decide to use 2, dump the juice out of 1. And then after you do that, you just take your whole box of cake mix and you dump it over your peaches as evenly as you can. But you'll see here in a minute, I did take a spatula to it and kind of smooth it down a little bit because me and my OCD, I couldn't just leave it all lumpy like that. I had to smooth it out a little bit. But after you do that, I melted the 2 sticks of butter in the microwave, and I got that all good and melted, and then I drizzled it on top as evenly as I could. And now once you have that on there, I would suggest sprinkling some cinnamon maybe on top of it, because I did that at the end. But I think it would be good if you just sprinkled it on top right there and let it cook into it as well. But after that, you put your lid on, you set your crock pot to high for 2 hours, y'all. That's literally it, 2 hours. And you can either serve this with whipped cream like I did, or it would even be really, really good with some vanilla ice cream. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a good dessert, a simple dessert at that. But anyways, here it is after it is cooked its full time. This was so good, y'all. So good. Even though it had, it was a little bit mushy. Not really mushy, but it didn't have that peach cobbler texture, but that's all right because that taste was there. But here it is all plated up, and there you see the cinnamon on it. But it was really good, y'all. I was impressed because this is the first time I've ever made a dump cake in a crock pot. So if y'all are looking for something new, give this one a try. But thanks for coming back for another Crocktober / what's for dinner and dessert. I really appreciate you all, and I love y'all, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Until next time, God bless. Bye.